Ukraine has turned a 3-year war right on its head over the past 72 hours, literally. And President Trump has stayed totally silent. Ukraine overnight detonated a key road and rail bridge that connects the Crimea Peninsula to Russia. Not only is this bridge a key supply route for the Russians, it's also a symbol of their occupation of Crimea. Books are going to be written about Ukraine's drone attack on Russia's strategic bomber bases over 1,000 miles from its border. Putin's puzzle is whether he can find a way out of this war right now and still save face. It's a totally different calculation than, say, on Friday. According to a new study, Russia will likely hit the 1 million casualty mark in the summer of 2025. Putin loves Stalin, and it was Stalin that said a single death is a tragedy, 1 million deaths are a statistic. Those wanting to put Putin in a humiliating corner right now miss the point. Put Putin in a corner, he fights his way out. Maybe with nuclear weapons. He certainly wants us to think that. Put him in a position where Putin fears a corner, but is offered a face-saving off-ramp. He might take the off-ramp. That would be good for everyone. And that's the challenge for Donald Trump. Convince Ukrainian President Zelensky to offer peace terms that Putin may not like. Maybe Zelensky doesn't like them, but that Putin can live with. With us now, Michael Allen, former National Security Counsel under President George W. Bush, House Intel Staff Director. It's good to see you, as always. See if we can agree on a couple things off the top. Trump's silence on this is pretty smart.
I think so. He doesn't want to seem to be dancing on Vladimir Putin's grave when he's taken 2 serious shots in the last 24 hours, as you mentioned. So I think it's a strategic silence on Donald Trump's part because he wants to try and feel his way through whether Putin views these attacks as a reason to enter into serious talks or to keep delaying like he's been doing so far.
The second part of that, and I don't know if you heard Mark Halpern at the beginning of the show, who said he found it hard to believe that the United States didn't either get a heads up or had knowledge of this or provided intel or something. The White House says they had absolutely no idea about the drone attacks. That maybe even says more than if they did get a heads up. But when Ukraine is doing well, as clearly they are over the past 72 hours, that's good for America. And frankly, it's good for Donald Trump, who keeps being accused of being Putin's puppet.
I think that's right. Listen, I mean, what Russia fears the most is if Donald Trump gets frustrated and decides to get out of brokering the negotiations. Putin wants the United States to not to send military assistance or intelligence assistance anymore to the Ukrainians. So if it looks like Ukraine is a little bit stronger here, it's possible that Vladimir Putin looks at this situation and says, you know what, maybe I do need to take this off-ramp that Donald Trump is offering me. Maybe I have way too many casualties. And if Trump were to follow forward a little bit with sanctions and getting very serious about trying to limit their oil and gas transfers around the world, then Vladimir Putin may think to himself, you know what, I do need a breather. I'll take the ceasefire option.
Yeah, those were the levers that Joe Biden would never use, right? He would always give the Ukrainians enough to fight, not enough to win. He would sort of do enough to irritate Putin, but not enough to punish him. Here's Keith Kellogg, the special envoy from the administration for Ukraine. Take a listen.
I'm telling you, the risk levels are going way up. I mean, what happened this weekend, people have to understand in the national security space, when you attack an opponent's part of their national survival system, which is their triad, the nuclear triad, that means your risk level goes up because you don't know what the other side's going to do. You're not sure.
Decode that from a national security perspective for us.
What he's saying is that any nuclear nation needs a delivery system. Of course, you hear the triad, you think, well, of course, missiles, and you think submarines. But you also need strategic bombers. You need 3 different ways to be able to deliver a nuclear weapon. And so if Vladimir Putin interprets this not as a shot against airplanes that also deliver cruise missiles, which kill Ukrainian civilians in office buildings and, of course, in apartment buildings, if he chooses to look at this as an attack actually on the delivery systems for his nuclear weapons, does he use that as an excuse, or maybe for good reason, to go up the escalation ladder and saber rattle about nuclear weapons. I really don't think Putin's ever going to go there, because I think he would lose support, the very narrow amount of support he has, by the way, around the world. But nonetheless, I can see it getting people nervous, not only here in the United States, but elsewhere in Europe, thinking, gosh, you know what, this might lead to World War III. I don't think it will, but I can see people's argument that it's destabilizing.
You think about the two things the Ukrainians did, the bombing of the bridge, good video, the fact that they have it on video, impressive, but Operation Spiderweb, the drones hitting the Russian bombers 1,000+ miles away. That also sends a message to the United States from Zelensky. If we take America at its word that it didn't know, this is Zelensky saying, I have some cards to play too, you must pay attention to me.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's showing that Ukraine has got initiative. They're not just this force that's on the defensive and big Russia's eventually going to crush them. It's showing that they are creative, that they can still take the initiative to Vladimir Putin and really knock him down. It's the classic asymmetrical move in warfare, not only earlier in the war when they took out all sorts of naval ships in the Black Sea, but today to be able to take out these other strategic areas inside of Russia, that is a real blow to Vladimir Putin's prestige. And frankly, it's really embarrassing for him.
Right.
So it could cut the other way, where Putin says, you know what, I got to get back at these people before I agree to Donald Trump's idea of a ceasefire.
Yeah, and the fact that Donald Trump hasn't said anything negative towards the Ukrainians says something as well. Michael, it's always a great conversation. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. See you.
Yeah. First wrote about this in War Notes, your chance for an inside look at the show every day. It is free, warnotes.com to subscribe. You'll be delighted and smarter when you check your email at 7:05 p.m. every day.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.